Mark, if we start with the news from last night and plans for the new stadium being approved, so how big a boost is that for the club?
Oh, it's fantastic news if we can get it built and crack on with it. It's great news because obviously it's hard work. You know, when we get a big crowd at the new lawn, trying to facilitate it. So I'm sure that once we get that stadium, it will add a new vibrancy to the support and improve the atmosphere.
And I guess it shows the ambition of the club and where the club wants to be in a few years' time.
Of course, I think we've no secret of the fact that Dale wants to build a new stadium, and I think we can only benefit from that, as can the local area.
You mentioned getting supporters in. I guess it's going to be a 5,000 seater, so you need to get a few more fans in, but I guess that's something you can perhaps do by playing good football and getting wins.
We do play good football, and we have done for 3 years. But I just think it's got to the stage where now a new stadium would improve that.
And obviously it's a few years off, but from a playing and a management point of view, what would it be like having those brand new facilities?
It'd be great. That's what you aspire to. You want to be at a club where you've got everything spot on. Your training facility, your stadium, your pitch. Everything that you can think of. It would be great to be at a club that's got all of those.
And attracting new players, I guess that's another thing to attract them.
Of course, I mean in terms of location, where it'll be really easily accessible from the Midlands, from the south, further southwest, and I think it helps. If you've got a new stadium that's all singing and dancing, it helps you attract players.
Moving on to the pitch, I guess a little bit of a frustrating time for you at the moment in terms of results and not being able to score goals. How frustrating has it been?
It's frustrating when we're not doing an awful lot wrong from the edge of our box to the edge of theirs. It's just the last little bit. So we've somehow got to find a way to however we've got to do it, get the ball in the back of the net.
You mentioned after the game on Saturday about maybe getting some ruthless strikers in January. Was that also a little bit of perhaps maybe a kick up the backside for the players over here?
No, we will. We need additions to help us, of course, and we need additions for competition. We've been working this week to try and make the chances even better, if you understand what I'm saying. So we can't really miss them, which is difficult, but that's our job, is to try and make the chances unmissable and to make sure that we leave nothing to chance.
I guess if there is a game to get back to winning ways and to boost confidence against the league leaders would be it.
Yeah, it's always good to play against good teams and test yourself. And, we've played some really good football, and Swindon are doing really well. They've got 2 strikers in red hot form, and that's the difference at the moment. But no, they've got some good players, and they look as though they're going to be a real threat this season.
How do you kind of stop those 2 top scorers in the league so far?
Well, I think first of all you have to concentrate on what you're doing, and if you have enough of the ball at the right end, then you limit their chances. But of course, we'd be foolish not to know exactly what they're about and how their goals are scored. They score a lot of goals from counter-attacks. We know that. They have a lot of pace. And then in Owen Doyle, they have the top marksman in the EFL, I would think. And when you have that in your team, you always know you've got big chances to win games.
Coming up to a really busy period over Christmas, New Year, so if you can get a bit of momentum going, you've got plenty of games coming along. For us, the next game is trying to get something out of it. Swindon, then we go to Stevenage, then Macclesfield, Exeter, and then we have an opportunity to strengthen, which is, in my mind, is where we need to be right. Just on a personal note, there's a newspaper article today linking you possibly with the Bristol Rovers job. Is it flattering to be linked to other jobs?
Of course. It only comes when you're doing a half-decent job somewhere else. But, until I hear any different, then it's news to me.
Okay.
Mark, you had a good spell at Swindon. You always seem to get pretty good welcome off the fans when you return or they come here. I've probably put the kiss of death on that one now, but it was an enjoyable time for you?
Yeah, I enjoyed my time as manager there. We had a real good group of young players and got to the player final and sold a lot of players. So yeah, I really enjoyed my time there, and still in touch with a lot of those players, and like Ryan Mason, people like that. Alex Pritchard, John Abika, Nathan Byrne, Jack Stevens, Jordan, some real good players. So I really enjoyed it.
Saturday, obviously a game that you are going to relish despite your recent sort of blip in form. It's a good game to play.
Of course, the players should be looking forward to it. Test themselves against the team at the top of the league. We're not too despondent. The only thing we're despondent about is the results. The performances have been there. And if we can find that little bit of a killer touch, then however we find it, we'll be fine.
Looking ahead to January, have you changed the sort of player you're going to be looking at, the profile of a player? I mean, you normally go for a young, hungry one. Would you be tempted to go for a 35-year-old striker who's been there and done it?
It wouldn't be a 35-year-old, but it would, somebody who can score, somebody who can just put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, would that mean you changing your style of play at all?
I don't think we have to, with the amount of chances we've created. 16 shots on Saturday, hit the woodwork 3 times, and we had 64% possession. I think if we'd have played, the last 2 games, and the stats will point out that we should win those games, but we didn't because we didn't put the ball in the net.
How much of an impact do you expect George Williams to make if he's fit in January? Will he be fit in January to be part of your squad?
We can't put too much pressure on him. He's had a bad injury. He'll be fit when he's fit. The last thing we'll do is rush him and risk his career. That one's not one that we're looking at in the early part of January for certain. I would think it'd be towards the end into February. Yeah.
Have you got a handle on how many numbers are likely to come in? Is it going to be 2, 3, 4?
I think it's important we get the front line ones what I need, 2 key players. And then after that we can take our time.
Yeah. And in terms, will there be any players we like to see any players leave the football club?
Of course, it's football. Players come in, players will go. There'll be some players that need to go and play, and there'll be some that will need to go to make way for players coming in.
Yeah. You said on Saturday, we said on Saturday, it's all about those fine margins, isn't it? On last week, you hit the woodwork 3 times. You could have come away with a 3-1 victory. I think
if we play that game 100 times, we win it most of them, but we didn't. So, like I say, it's maybe we've got to make those chances a little bit even easier than they were.
Is team selection difficult on Saturday, or have you got a team in mind?
I haven't got a lot of choice, Ash. There's not a lot of options. People will know that the players that are struggling confidence-wise and not quite doing it at the minute. So I haven't got lots to choose from, but the ones I pick will have a right runabout. Yeah. And
you've got the versatility of Matt Mills as well. Would you consider playing him up front from the start?
No. I think that stinks of desperation. And then that is a kick in the teeth to the centre forwards you've got. You're just hoping that it turns for the forwards that we've got, and one flies in off their backside or their heel and gets them going.
Yeah. I mean, in the scheme of things, you look at the league table. You're in the mix.
Yeah, I don't really look at it. I haven't done win, lose or draw until the last 10 games. Really, we've just got to stay up and around it. Get to January, do what we need to do, and we'll be fine.
Yeah. How are the bumps and bruises in the squad?
Dokes is back available after his concussion. Faz Rawson's ill. So more or less the same as last week. Dokes is in. Faz Rawson may miss out with illness.
Yeah, just one more from me. How well do you think Richie Wellens has done at Swindon in his short time?
Done very well. Got some good players. Got some good forwards. So, done really well.
Okay, all the best.
Cheers.
Cheers.